What is going on, everybody? It is Alex coming back at you with another video, and today we are going to be kicking off my mock draft 11.1 with trades. If you guys want to see a mock draft that is just based off of no trades, check out my one that I did yesterday. I want to be able to experiment with scenarios where you can't trade back, because a lot of times there's spots where I just don't think the value matches up. So if you guys are new, I would love for you guys to join the community. We just breached 6K late last night. So thank you guys for making that happen. That is awesome. I owe it all to you guys. You guys are the best. I love you. Again, we were, I think, at 5K literally a month or a month and a half ago. So being able to have that growth is absolutely insane. It's all thanks to you guys. So let's continue building up that hype train. Join the Discord if you haven't already. Do stuff over there like doing all 22 tape study with you guys that I can't do over here on YouTube, including fan mock drafts. So let's get right into the video. Let's have some fun if we shall. Starting off with the number 1 overall pick. There are ideas of potentially trading out of this spot. There are a lot of teams that now can vie for that number 1 overall pick. I think there are 4 or 5 of them that can technically, in the perfect scenario, end up with the number 1 overall pick. And certain teams, like I would say the Bears and the Cardinals would be the 2 that would not draft Bryce Young at 1 overall. I don't know if you're in range and you're Seattle, we could debate it, but like that's where I'm kind of hoping Houston wins a couple more. I'm sorry for y'all. Like I am sorry if that does happen. You guys lose out on Bryce Young, but it's just cool to have an idea of a trade scenario at 1, just because we all know it's going to be Bryce Young. It just is what it is. If you guys are new here, again, this is all live. So if you guys are saying, why is he arguing with himself? I think you guys deserve to be able to see my thought process rather than just a guy clicking through stuff he's already decided on over an hour ago. Don't really think that's fun. Don't think there's very much excitement in that. And I know that some people do it very well. I'm not very passionate about that, so I'm not going to do it to you guys. But I digress. There isn't a team that's going to want to trade up to this spot. If you don't get Bryce Young, it's going to be very, very difficult to be able to justify any other player to trade up for at this spot that the Bears wouldn't want to trade. Like, again, if let's just say the Cardinals like, dude, we want Jalen Carter. Like, we'll give you our first and our second round pick. And the Bears are like, ooh, that's a good deal. What happens if we move back there? You lose out on Will Anderson and Jalen Carter, because I can guarantee you I'm not drafting a quarterback at 3. I don't like this QB class that much. So with that knowledge, you're gaining pretty much a second round pick to lose Jalen Carter. No way in hell. So yeah, basically, I do think Will Anderson should be on the board. It should be, because of the fact that you do have your next pick at 56. There's a big drop off between the edge Will Anderson you can get here and the one you can get at 56. Now, if it were at like 34, that's a different question. So I do think it is possible to be able to go Will Anderson at the spot. But the talent drop off from Jalen Carter to the next guy, Brian Breezy's not it. I'm sorry, he's not. NFL doesn't seem to look at him that way either. Otherwise, he wouldn't be saying he's going back. So there's a huge talent gap here. Let's go Jalen Carter. Let's have a good time. Just get an absolute stalwart on your defensive front. Top 3 picks, the same as usual. You get whatever is left over. Will Anderson is an absolute beast. And it's kind of an ideal scenario there for Seattle. Pick number 4. Now, this is a spot I think we should try to trade out of. And I will emphasize this. Some team has to pay the price to trade up. And for the people who get mad at me for the value, we're going to be going off of a chart. So hold your horses. We're going to be going off of a chart. But I'm going to show you guys. This is my board, by the way, for the people who are new as well. Just want to show you guys it. And if you guys have issues with my board, which I know every single person on this entire planet will, and that's the beauty of the industry that we work in, feel free to join the Discord and ask me. I love doing tape studies with you guys to show you why I believe what I believe, because I think you should challenge your own beliefs and be able to put it up against everybody's views. And, you know, if I'm not willing to do that, that just means I'm an arrogant POS, and I think you guys deserve to watch someone who's better than that. So the price to pay is moving up for CJ Stroud or Will Levis. And the Raiders certainly could be a team that's in that QB market for CJ Stroud. And I want to see the price. Let's see the price of this trade up here. So Vegas is not at number 8. Pretty sure they're at number 9. So it's number 9 to number 4. So thank you to drafttech.com for not providing the updated rankings. But 1350 up to 1800, that's 450 value. You look at that, that's roughly a mid-second. And I want to check what the Raiders do have to offer here because I think they definitely need to at least be inquiring here. Derek Carr is just not the answer. You can cut him this year, and he's only going to be a $5 million cap hit the next year, save $110 million. It's just pretty obvious at this point that, probably not going to be the guy there. And the Cardinals, I don't think the Raiders are willing to give up this number 40 overall pick. I don't believe that that's the case. But at the same time, you have to pay a quarterback tax. And I think if this team does have maybe an early second round pick, you certainly can get great value and be able to boost your franchise to where this is not a top 10 worthy pick in the next year. It's probably going to be 18. You might be getting to the playoffs with the right distributor under Josh McDaniels. You cannot afford to pay another person right now. So you're stuck with McDaniels, and you got to work with what he has. Now, could you use that for free agency? 100%. And that's a very interesting idea that I've been going along with for a long time. But I want to go back to the Derek Carr thing, and I think a 9, 3rd, and a 3rd does get this done. Honestly, we'll boost it to that second round pick and ask maybe for like a 4th in return. Who cares? It's not going to affect this mock draft. But that 3rd round pick certainly is. Cardinals will probably want that 40, but we can't give that to them. They're going to accept having a nice haul to move back and get a better value position. Derek Carr just not going to be there, and most teams probably want their own guy. You could see Jimmy G being the guy, but in this mock draft specifically, CJ Stroud is going to be the dude. I love testing out new ideas because it makes fresh content for you guys. It totally changes up how I'm going to be drafting, so I think this is a good spot to test it out. Irsay is not shy when it comes to doing things that are very bold, even if the fan base is not 100% down for it. So I think Jim Irsay has the cojones to try to draft Will Levis here. I will say he did not like Carson Wentz. You're essentially getting Carson Wentz, and that's kind of the big issue. Here's the thing. You might say, Alex, we need to trade out of the spot. You still got Myles Murphy, great player. Love him to death. He was my number 1 player for most of the year. You do have some very talented corners on the board. There's good players, but at the same time, no one is worth paying the price to move up. You saw what it just costed to move up for a QB. Nobody else in this class is really worth that move up. For me, I don't think CJ Stroud is worth that move up, but I also like to blend other people's opinions with my own to give you guys a nice balanced view of what the draft should be. So, because again, if I just did based off of my board, it would be a total fantasy draft. Doesn't make sense at all. We'll do that in the offseason. That's going to be a fun video, but not during the regular season. But Will Levis is going to be the pick. It's going to be a quarterback. Irsay's not going to have another sloppy seconds QB. He wants to take the chance on the guy. I have a feeling that they could end up with the number 1 pick. There is a chance, and I honestly kind of hope they do. It would be cool to see Bryce Young, if I'm not mistaken, in that same division, just on a different team. I know Houston Texans fans are losing their shit over that, but that's okay. Pick number 6, pass rush, defensive interior, corner. Those are the positions I want to target heavily. Tyree Wilson, great guy. But Myles Murphy, you just get consistency. Great in the run game. Great against the pass rush as well, but not nearly the flashy player that maybe some other players in this class like Jared Verse are. So I love Myles Murphy. You can kick him inside as well at 275 pounds. Just a really polished guy, and honestly, on a team that is rebuilding, it is nice to have someone you can just genuinely trust to be an impact player every single snap. And Arnold Ebiketie, he was one of my guys last year. He was one of those guys who I had a first-round grade on. He's been playing, honestly, pretty damn well. And, is he KT right now? No. But the fact is he's going to be on that roster for the entirety of his career, or the entirety of his first contract. He's going to get that 5th-year extension most likely. So you hit on him. It was a good pick. I think this one, it's almost a guarantee. Get someone who's just going to be a damn good player. Myles Murphy, totally worth it. Again, remember, you might say, oh, we need to trade back. It's perfectly fine to trade back so long as there's someone on the board that attracts a team to pay a very nice price for it, because everything comes at a cost. And there's just not that many guys that are really worth that type of moolah at the moment. Myles Murphy would have been my dream pick here at pick number 7, but we are going with my number 3 overall player. I do apologize for continuing to go Joey Porter for this team, but I I mean, it's the best player. It really is. Myles Murphy, if you were here, would have been the best player as well. You could definitely go after Keely Ringo. Going after a corner definitely feels like one of the best moves you can make for this franchise. Don't blow it on a QB. Don't go AR-15 here. Not going to do that. But at pick number 8, I love the idea of going a QB here. I will say that I would love to see Derek Carr on this squad next year. I think that would be a phenomenal option for him. Go to the NFC, give this franchise a chance. They have a good O-line, they have good weapons. Even though you don't have CMC, you still are producing with your running backs, and that's a great sign of the offensive line. You have, honestly, a really stout defense. Now, the positions I think you need to target. Edge rusher. I do think that there should be an edge number 2. You also value edge very, very highly. I think corner. You guys have been clamoring for this, and I totally agree. Corner should be on the board. And I want to test that out. The last time you picked a corner at 8 overall, it was J.C. Horn. I think it was 8 overall. And Cam Smith here, that would be a really, really cool thing to have. That would be super awesome to have 2 South Carolina cornerbacks at number 8 overall. But until the All-22 comes out on Cam Smith, I'm not really comfortable pulling the trigger on him at number 8 overall. I'd be willing to trade back, though. Let's see who we can trade up for. I think it'd be cool to have an ideal trade-up partner. Tyree Wilson's here. Man, I don't see anybody worth it. I'm gonna be honest, guys. So we're gonna go after an edge rusher or a corner, and it's Jared Verse. To me, it's down to Jared Verse going back. Well, that'd be kind of cool too. So I love the idea of going another Florida State edge rusher, or you can end up with another South Carolina corner or a Keely Ringo. It really doesn't matter. And for the storyline, let's go Cam Smith. Let's do it. For the storyline, we'll go South Carolina DBs at number 8 overall. Quarterback, certainly something to look at. But I think my boy Big Jordan down in the chat, big Panthers fan, certainly would be willing to go for another couple years with other quarterbacks rather than going with one from this class, and I can't blame you. But Keely Ringo is going to be my pick for this spot. He went to high school here, played ball, totally worth it. You acquired a 3rd-round pick, which we'll use in this draft, because, again, this is 3 rounds split into 3 days, so stay tuned for that. But, again, he played there in high school, definitely somebody who's going to be a nice addition to a team that's kind of desperate for a corner. And the Eagles have kind of seen the majority of them fall off the face of the earth. Christian Gonzalez still here. Brian Branch still here. Jalen Jones still here. Now, I think they go after an edge rusher. And I'm looking at the teams ahead. I can see that the Texans would go after Jared Verse. I could totally see it. Seahawks, we've already drafted an edge rusher. Titans, it's not out of the realm of possibility. It's not. Bud Dupree's been absolute dog water, and it's not a big surprise to a Steelers fan like me that he's not consistent enough. But the Patriots could totally see it. So I don't really see anybody willing to trade up for Christian Gonzalez right at the moment. I think the Patriots would love to have Christian Gonzalez, but I don't know, because it does feel like at that next spot you are going to be looking at another corner, and you do need to hit on a corner for this position. Christian Gonzalez is a great corner. He definitely fits what the Eagles would be looking for. But to be fair, the success of the Eagles secondary has primarily come from free agency. And I think that might still be the case. And I don't want to force a pick in the corner room. So let's go after an edge rusher. Tyree Wilson would be very, very popular. But we're going to go after Jared Verse. Can totally see it. Obviously, Josh Sweat was a Florida State edge rusher. Just as long as he's not playing with that ankle injury, which he has been since pretty much the start of the year, he's going to be an absolute star. So very excited to see that. The fact he's been able to play through it is a big tip of my cap to him. Pick number 11. Now, man, I could totally trade back and get Quentin Johnston here. And to me, that would be kind of worth it. I don't know. Again, I'm trying to think of who a team would trade up for. Christian Gonzalez, probably one of them, because he's one of the best man-to-man corners in the class. And I'm looking at teams that would probably be desperate for a corner. Steelers could be trying to make some moves up, man. They could. We need offensive tackle. We need DB, and that might be the best move for us. I'm looking at other teams that could be looking at one. The Jaguars could be hungry. They could be starving for a nice cornerback, and they're not going to trade in division, but I think they might be looking for a good corner. So I do think corner could be a position for the Texans, though. I do. And I like the idea of edge rusher here. I like the idea of corner here. I like the idea of linebacker here. And I still might take Trent Simpson. I don't know if the NFL is high enough to take him at 11. And I took him yesterday at 11, so it's kind of boring me out to continue to go the same damn path every single time. So let's go corner here. Let's do it. Test it out. Test out the waters. Christian Gonzalez is just a little too damn good. We don't know the defensive scheme. Let me know what you think of this. I know it's not a primary concern, but it is something where the cornerback class is extremely top-heavy. Linebackers, you're probably going to get good enough value there in round 2. And you are defending against your own division, trying to move up and be able to solidify their corner core. Pick number 12. This is where the Seahawks are willing to potentially take Trent Simpson or Anthony Richardson, not wide receiver, or Anthony Richardson. And both options are phenomenal. Both options are great. And I think this team could certainly use a 2-year project. But at the same time, I want to change it up a little bit. I've been doing Anthony Richardson for the past week and a half for this team. Let's have a little bit of fun. Let's go Trent Simpson here. Did I say I was not going to take him at number 11? Yes, but I've been consistently taking him there for the Texans if he is available. Pick number 13. Now, Quentin Johnston's still on the board, and I do think some teams need to make some moves to acquire him. I do. I think there should be teams that are very, very excited to get Quentin Johnston on their roster, including this one. Honestly, I've never been in this position to draft a Quentin Johnston at this point, except yesterday, which I didn't. But let's change it up a little bit. Quentin Johnston there to the Titans, 2 back-to-back first-round wide receivers. Quentin's going to be running in about the 4.4s, so it's not going to be Traylon Burks 4.55. And again, another X-build wide receiver. Traylon played primarily in the slot a lot anyways, so you don't need to necessarily force Traylon into a spot where he's uncomfortable. Quentin Johnston, 6'4", man, he is absolutely dynamic at that size. I just would love to see how he'd work there with Malik Willis. You're giving him bigger targets. Similar to the way we've been saying give Lamar targets, you need to give Malik targets as well. I mean, the guy needs to develop, and if he has no one to throw to, kind of an issue. So pick number 14 here for the Patriots. It's going to be offensive line. Peter Skoronski seems to be the dude who I'm most excited for, but we are going to go back to Broderick Jones. We went Paris Johnson yesterday, but we'll go Broderick Jones today. The Jets. Man, we're seeing Peter Skoronski slip. And I promise you, I am a Steelers fan, but I'm not doing this for the Steelers. Paris Johnson or Peter Skoronski, both of them have their own flaws respectively. We're just going to go Paris Johnson here. If I'm the Steelers, I'm sitting here. This is a no-brainer. We're not going to waste y'all's time. Peter Skoronski, yes, you might say he's probably a guard because of the fact he has 32-inch arms. And that's respectable. I understand that. But I will say this. I hope to God it actually loads the pick. But when you do think about it, Peter Skoronski is going to be great regardless. The Steelers' offensive line is just not good at all. So being able to get someone at Peter Skoronski's talent level, which I pray to God this does go through, would be honestly such a huge upgrade. And I think that's totally worth it for the team, for this team especially, to get something right on the offensive line. And if you have that ability there at 16, going to be the right spot for you. All right, here for the Packers pick. Had to restart the draft. Got to do what you got to do. You got to love the internet. So I also got to remember that Anthony Richardson's on the board. I think this is a good spot to trade up, except for the fact that my favorite defender for them is on the board. That's Tyree Wilson. There's not been that many trades in this draft. A lot of players have fallen, and it's just, the right place, the right time. Anthony Richardson would be a very intriguing option here at pick 18, but I'm not going to draft a QB for the Lions. I don't think that's something you should do. Bijan, not out of the question. So I definitely feel like that would be a very intriguing move for the team. I do like the idea of the Giants moving up for AR. I really do, and I know a lot of people don't like that, but I genuinely really do like that idea. And AR is certainly a very unique talent. He is. And there's just somebody, he's just so hard to compete with. I know he's gone by pick 20. So I got to see if maybe the Giants would like to bunny hop them for pick number 18. And I think it's the right move. I don't know why the Chiefs would want to move up to this spot. But Let's go to the New York Giants, and we'll go back to the trade chart. I'll scroll down so you guys get to see more of my board as well. Back to the trade chart, it's pick number 18 to pick number 22. So it's 900 down to 780. That is a 120 value, which is equivalent to pick number 95. So pick 95 value, I think it's fair to go like that. Yes, it's the QB tax, which is why I'm technically not doing that. The Giants, you guys are essentially going to be in the playoffs, so enjoy the fact that you guys can make this trade with just a third-round pick, but also gives the Lions extra draft capital to be able to move forward. So trade is accepted, and then the Giants are moving up for Anthony Richardson. So there you go. I think the biggest limiter for the Giants is the fact that your quarterback doesn't have a high enough ceiling. And Daboll's the one guy I trust to make it happen. So give Anthony his best shot. Out of respect for Anthony, I would love for this to happen. Pick number 19. So the Jaguars, y'all been sitting pretty. I think Michael Mayer would be a great option for this team. You see how much Evan Engram is implemented into this offense. I hope he gets re-signed. We're not going to be taking tight end here, but I just want to give a shout out to Michael Mayer as a good fit for the team. Wide receiver Jordan Addison would not be a bad move. Jack Smith-Njigba kind of feels like the guy that you just traded away in Laviska Shenault this year, so not necessarily a huge fan of it. I could see us trading back a little bit and getting Brian Branch in the slot, because something that you guys pointed out to me is that Darius Williams is playing honestly quite well on the boundary, and more of the issue lies in the slot. I think Shaq's going to get cut, so you have Tyson Campbell who's doing a great job, Darius Williams who's definitely good enough to keep his job. Then you have Brian Branch who could start out as a slot. I think Tyson Campbell did the same and move to the boundary. I'm excited for this. I've never done this pick before in my entire life. So enjoy the idea of using Brian Branch as a hyper versatile DB. He's going to be testing probably in the 4-3s. Just somebody who, if he hits, he's going to be an absolute lockdown Minkah Fitzpatrick level DB. And that's worth the risk of him being a little too risky. Pick number 20. So this is heavily favoring towards Bijan Robinson, but at the same time, I think you could look at Antonio Johnson. You guys are losing out on multiple starting DBs, including slot corners, and I don't know if you guys are going to get off Rachaad White. So Antonio Johnson, someone who I absolutely adore, could definitely move into the slot. He could be at safety. You can even use him as a boundary corner. I like that versatility. It's the same exact way I love it for Brian Branch. So pick number 21. Yes, I did scroll down so you guys get to see even more of my board. I think you guys deserve that. So a guard certainly feels to be a position who I'm heavily favoring. Bijan Robinson is a guy who I think is a sneaky dude. Tight end does feel like something that you would go after. And, you look at how Wentz utilizes tight ends. I think that, especially with the quarterbacks you do have on roster, being able to have a safe, reliable target makes sense. And Michael Mayer is going to go in this range. I don't like Michael Mayer that much, but I also have to blend in the fact that this dude always almost falls out of the first round every time. So we're going to be going with Michael Mayer at this spot. Pick number 22, we're just going to let it fall into our lap. Bijan Robinson making the move right here. I don't think that's a necessity, but you traded back and you still got excellent value. DeAndre Swift's just always hurt. Jamal Williams will probably be brought back, but you know that he's built to be a committee. Bijan is just so special. I know we should be fixing the defense, but I really wanted to have a little bit of fun and help fix the offense. So let's see who else is on the board still. Quarterback-wise, you got pretty much nothing. Jordan Addison is still on the board, though, and it's honestly a perfect pick for the Chargers. We haven't done it in a hot minute, so I just wanted to bring it back for the Chargers fans. I know, same old with Jordan Addison, but pick number 24 for the Ravens. I don't think there's anything egregious going on with players falling at the moment. Brian Breezy, I know a lot of people have a hard-on for him. He'll be going sometime in this range, don't worry. But, this is a good spot for the Ravens to be in, because you kind of can just pick with whatever is left over, and you know that the team's going to do the right thing. It's just one of those weird fan bases where I think you guys totally trust your front office to do the right thing. And wide receiver definitely is on the list. I hate to be boring and take Jack Smith-Njigba every single week, but it seems to be the right move. This is going to be Anton Harrison. No reason to think that much about it. Left tackle, right tackle versatility. One of the few positions this team genuinely needs. Cowboys. Brian Breezy's here. You're going to take the swing. You're going to take the swing on him. Pick number 27 for the Bengals. Speeding this up a little bit for y'all. I think this could be a good trade down spot. I like the idea of maybe going Osiris Torrance here, but getting good value is probably the best thing this team can do. I don't see many players. Actually, left tackle, right tackle needs to be addressed. Darnell Wright, I don't like taking him that highly anymore, but this class is so thin at tackle, you need to at least have somebody who's starter potential, and Darnell Wright's certainly that. He's played right tackle this entire year, played very well against Georgia and Alabama. He did very well last year at left tackle as well. Pick number 28 for the Chiefs. Also another team that would have loved Darnell Wright. I think edge rusher seems to be the right move, but I honestly kind of want to trade out of this spot. I do. I think that's the right thing. We've always taken a guy at this spot, and I do apologize to my very vocal Chiefs fan base, which I do love. You know, there's some good wide receivers in here like Jalen Hyatt, and there's teams right here like the Vikings that would love to nab someone like Jalen Hyatt. So let's see if there's a team that's looking for kind of a special deep threat. It's kind of tough to see anybody in the close vicinity that would be in the mood for that, except the Texans. I've never taken Jalen Hyatt for the Texans. I think that'd be a really cool option. And getting that deep threat certainly feels to me like a big move this franchise could use to be able to just push itself a little bit further. You got Bryce Young, get him his own version of Jameson Williams. You think about it that way. He has John Mechie then. Now he's comfortable. So I really like that. The Chiefs don't move back very far at all, and it's just a comfortable little zone to be in. So Houston Texans making the move, 32 up to 28. Once again, we're going with the chart. 32, 590 up to 28, 660. Quick math, that's like 70 right there. So pick 112 or higher. And we got 96. We'll just ask for 96 and then get maybe like 188 or 220 in return. We'll do the 220. It's essentially nothing. It's not going to affect this mock draft, I'll tell you that. But this is going to be Jalen Hyatt. I really like Jalen Hyatt. He's number 31 on my board. So I definitely feel like in the role that he's supposed to play. Actually, no, he's number 28 now on my board. In the role that he's supposed to play, he's going to kick ass. Pick number 29, again, a great spot for Jalen Hyatt. I think that, wide receiver still is on the board, in my opinion. I still think that you should be looking at least as Josh Downs, but something that you can probably get in round 2. Corner. Jalen Jones fits very, very well. I like him a lot. I think that's a good move for the team. And, just bolstering that defense, never a bad thing at all. The Bills, I wish I could get a DB for y'all because I don't really think there's very many more positions that you need to address. Offensive tackle, not worth it. So we're going to get developmental offensive guard here in Osiris Torrance to be able to just bolster that front as well. Again, he has the highest ceiling of any guard in the class, so I think that is totally worth it. Pick number 31 for the Philadelphia Eagles. Again, I know some of y'all get pissed at Jared Verse at pick 10. Y'all do whatever you want. But this pick, linebacker, never going to happen with Howie in the first. Running back certainly feels like something that's in the possibility. But Howie likes to do his trades, so let's see. I'm not going to take a wide receiver or a quarterback here. I don't think any of them are worth it. Tight end, no. Running back, you got Jahmyr Gibbs, but I know they're going to fall. It's just going to happen. And then offensive line, don't really see the value. Corner, you have some dudes on the board for sure. And I can see the Steelers trying to make a small move up to be able to secure Clark Phillips or Garrett Williams. And to be honest, I think as an Eagles fan, I'm not an Eagles fan, but like for you guys who are Eagles fans, I'd be perfectly happy moving back and taking the leftover between these two because of the fact that, both of them are really talented guys. So let's make a small move up with the Pittsburgh Steelers here. I'm not even going to waste our time by looking at the value. It's not going to affect this mock draft at all. So we'll force it. The Steelers move up, and then they select Clark Phillips III. Going to be one of those guys to replace Cam Sutton. So let me know what you guys think. I want to thank you guys so much for watching and supporting as always. Check out tomorrow for round 2, the day after for round 3. See you on the far side. Peace.